During the recording of the album, you posted several clips of the process of its recording. As an artist, how important do you feel it is to connect to your audience, and on that level, I guess also?
On what? Sorry.
Sorry. During the recording of the album, you post a lot of clips on YouTube of the actual process of it being recorded.
Right.
As an artist, how important is it to you to connect to your audience on that level of bringing them into the studio and showing them some of your actual creations and process?
I thought it was fun. You know, I think that like the internet's here to stay, and I think it's important to let them in as much as they want to be let in. And I've actually kind of started again. And some of it's actually too goofy. Like some of it, I watch, I'm like, what the hell was I thinking posting this? But I don't know. I kind of like the way the Foo Fighters have just like made things funny, and like, you know, that I just don't think music should be taken so seriously. There's so many people that are just like I think I gave my fans like the super serious Richard Patrick on Anthems for the Damned, and I think that like my life is getting to the point where like, you also have to realize that, like, in a recession, you know, because we're all hurting. It's all different now. Everybody's in pain now. And it's just like, you know what? Let's just get back to having a good time. You know, let's get back to just being, you know, having a good, like back in 9 Inch Nails, it was all like serious when it was in the you know, the band and stuff. But Trent and I used to have an amazingly fun time, goofing off and just, you know, being funny and not taking anything seriously, and you know, and I think that that's kind of what I missed in rock and roll. So I'm putting it back into my life because, you know, I have kids and I like goofing off with my kids, and you know, I think it doesn't have to necessarily be like so serious. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I'm certainly talking.
No,
had some coffee.
The question. That's the question. Speaking of audiences, you yourself listening to lots of different things. Who are you listening to these days?
I'm listening to Mudvayne a lot, and I'm listening to Mudvayne a lot because I actually did a few shows with Chad, who sings for Hell Yeah, and Gino Leonardo is actually working with the bass player and the guitar player from Mudvayne right now, which is good for Gino. South of Earth is his band that he's doing. But I'm enjoying heavy music. I'm like, the Deftones are one of my most favorite bands of all time. It's literally like U2, Pink Floyd, Deftones, Neil Diamond. I mean, it's like I placed them in a high. I actually told that to Chi, and she was like, "Damn, you're putting us next to Led Zeppelin." Did I say Led Zeppelin? Led Zeppelin's in there. It's like, you're gonna put us next to Led Zeppelin? I'm like, dude, you're about as important to me as Led Zeppelin or Pink Floyd. I can't take you any higher than that. You know, any higher might be the Beatles or the Rolling Stones, and that's where you fit. And he was just like, I can't even believe it. And by the way, if you haven't donated to Chi's foundation to keep him, you know, on the mend, make sure you hit that. It's you know, it's on the web. Just look it up, Google it.
You're doing a handful of smaller dates right now. Are you having any bigger tour plans afterwards? And do you have anybody in mind you want to co-headline a tour with or so?
I think we're talking to Nonpoint. I think we're talking to bands like, there's some bands in the European market that are really interesting, that are American. There's a lot of talk. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes action right now. Whatever we do, though, it's got to be something great, and we want to do something that's bigger than just kind of, you know, hitting the road. I want to make it special, but like, our version of special isn't lights and crazy. It's amounts of songs and just more of a punk rock kind of rock show. You know what I mean? And you know, we're putting it together right now, and I'm really excited because it's definitely, I'm pretty sure it's going to be worldwide. So, because we have a great label in Europe, they're Nuclear Blast, and we have a great label in Australia, which is Riot. And then I think the Japanese they're listening to the record, and some of those companies are going to make us some offers soon. And part of the deal is we want to get there, and we want to play, and we want to be in front of, you know, everybody. So okay. We haven't been there in a while. Got some work to do.
So In a recent interview, you talked about soundtrack work and passing on the American Beauty soundtrack. You had a single all the time. Has there ever been an offer that you're glad that you passed on? And if so, why?
American Beauty was hugely, that was probably a big mistake because we passed on it because we didn't want it to affect the single release of Welcome to the Fold, because we wanted to make sure that everybody knew that we were heavy still, because we don't want to piss off our young heavy fans. And of course there was a radio station in Los Angeles who remained anonymous that immediately started playing Take a Picture, and it became the huge song that everybody knows. But the plan that we were hoping was to have about 8 weeks of Welcome to the Fold, but this one station interrupted that. It was 2 weeks of Welcome to the Fold, and then everybody just had to start playing Take a Picture immediately. It's a great problem to have, but one of the things that we had said was American Beauty wanted to use Take a Picture as the end credits, which would have been incredible, because that's literally one of my most favorite movies. I don't know if it's yours, but I mean it's literally like it was an Oscar-winning, amazing, beautiful Kevin Spacey. It was really, and it's always fun to hear your music in great movies like that. So it's kind of a bummer that we've had to turn things down based on, you know, our own kind of projections of what we need the industry to hear first and what we wanted to do first. But that's just the way it is, you know. And there's been other things. I mean, you know, I kind of talk about this every once in a while, but like, you know, back in the 90s, like Nirvana, Smashing Pumpkins, you know, Pearl Jam, none of us sold out. None of us sold out. And then the internet came, and all of a sudden, like, hip hop became really big, and everyone saw what hip hop was doing, and they were like, well, they're smart businessmen. Look at they're marketing everything. They're coming up with perfumes. They're coming up with all this stuff. And I'm like, well, that's just selling out. You know, like, that's just selling out. We've been offered all that stuff. We've been offered. I mean, I can't tell you how many companies have said, like, can we use Hey Man, Nice Shot as, like, you know, the basis for our commercial? And you're just like, that's selling out. But so much has changed that, like, now it's like you look for things like that, because at the same time, you know, we're also, like, as long as we're allowed to be businessmen too, like, we want to, you know, I mean, it was really bizarre to see Pearl Jam actually. They said they would never do another video. They didn't just come back with a video. They came back with, like, a Target ad with a huge symbol. I mean, that's almost like, you know, that's like, but, you know, they're realizing, and we're all realizing, that, like, no one wants to buy these. They want to buy, they just want to get it for free. They don't want to pay for music in any way, shape, or form, and that's what we're all adjusting to, because unfortunately, you know, the internet has made it incredibly great for us to, you know, get exposure, but at the same time, it's destroying, you know, I mean, record budgets. My Amalgama was like $800,000. This record was $40,000 to make, and that's all someone's salary. You know, that's equipment, but mostly salaries. You know, and you know, it's just me and Bob in the studio with, like, some help, and then I give them. But back in the day, I employed everybody. I had the whole band where everybody was, like, living their lives, putting their kids in school, owning houses. I mean, it was different.
Yeah, it's like a double-edged sword in today's times and all of that.
Yeah, mostly tilted in the audience's favor, I think. Which is, I'm here. I love you guys. That's why I made this so special.
Fair enough. Is there anything professionally that you haven't done that you would like to do?
Yeah, I want to act. I want to get into acting. My brother's been telling me for years and years and years that I should go into acting. I think that performing, I think that music, I think that scripts, I think that all of that stuff combines with, you know, movies, and I write music for movies. You know, it's just, to me, it's all connected somehow, and I think that again, look at Ice Cube or Justin Timberlake. I mean, he's starting to break into acting. And I think that I think there's something to be said about multi-talented people, and I think that they can coexist. I don't think Mick Jagger was a great actor, but I definitely think that like Dwight Yoakam was. I think he's awesome. He was in Sling Blade, for Christ's sake. He was amazing in it. So it's possible, and I think that my brother, has always been saying, like, it's performing, it runs in the family. Me and him are the two biggest hams you've ever met,
All right. I guess last question. When it's all over and you decide to hang up Filter and retire from music in general, how would you like the band to be remembered?
Well, that's never going to happen.
That's good to know.
As long as I have veins pumping blood into my heart and lungs and the rest of my brains, I'm never giving up on music. I love music too much. It's done so many amazing things for me, and it's been the most incredible saving thing for me. I mean, I'd be dead if it wasn't for music and having the ability to create. I wouldn't be around.
All right.
But what was the second half of your question?
No, just asking. I guess I'll rephrase the question then. Just say the time comes to like move on past Filter, you decide to do something else in your career.
Mm-hmm.
How would you like the band to be remembered then?
I just want our band to be remembered as, I don't. It's not that I want my band to be remembered. I want my band to be. I just want it to be. It's just about the music. It's not necessarily a lifestyle, but it's definitely a band that doesn't. It's original, and it doesn't have. We've never been a genre. We don't fit neatly in your genre. Are we heavy? Are we heavy metal? No. Well, is it punk rock in ethic? It is. We're avant-garde in our ethic. But I just would rather not. Just original and honest, really. That's what I would say.
I would like to plug the album, your website, anything as well.
We have a website, officialfilter.com, and a MySpace, myspace.filter or /filter. We have a Facebook, and we're getting a lot of friends. Have you noticed that lately? It's really starting to get going. Yeah, come and visit us online.
Yes.
Officialfilter.com.
And there's the album right there as well. The deluxe editions in there. Okay. Thank you very much.
Sure.